All right, so we're talking about Koshiki no Kata in sort of a roundabout way. I was saying yesterday, in way of introduction, a year or so ago, we found a video of some guys doing something that was apparently Kito-ryu or Koshiki no Kata, and Eric wrote them a letter and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And they explained they were doing some Kito from an old text, if I remember right. They had found an old text in a library somewhere, and they had a study group putting the thing back together. And the video that they had put together was just mesmerizing. We all watched it thousands of times, over and over, because the motion was so smooth and unlike the Koshiki that we're used to seeing. So for a year or so, my class has been using these as warm-ups and hints and pointers at Koshiki no Kata. Sensei Keiko Fukuda said in one of her books, this is Mrs. Judo, this is the Judo Kata lady, said she never understood Judo Kata until she had practiced Koshiki enough. I thought that was interesting. So yesterday, where's my okay going off to? We will rapidly review these things. Each of these exercises bears some resemblance to a corresponding technique in Koshiki no Kata. He comes up and puts hands forward and backward, and I let him do a roll. Alright, we'll go different directions so they can see. He comes up and does the same thing, and I take a back fall and he takes a forward roll. Alright, where are we at now? My mind just sweeping Legos. Alright, he reaches for my gun or my belt or whatever. On each of these, both guys are going down. So it's an introduction to Satemi Waza, sacrifices. We do the same thing. This time we both take a back fall. All right. Now we're doing the shoulder push. All right. And this one is basically Garuma-like. And then he reaches for the shoulder. And there's one that's basically Otoshi-like. So this places us at number 7, where we're starting today. Guy is standing here. Also, I mentioned yesterday that I've been playing this for a year or so with my kids' classes. Kids like lava and aliens. So here we have an alien with lots of tentacles, right? So you come up and grab this guy right by the tentacles. Right? And you fit in as if you're going to do Gedanate. And we take a step. All right. So this is like the alien slaying technique. This thing that appeared in some form similar to Koshiki no Kata a long time ago was originally part of the judo syllabus. When they restructured and arranged it into 5 sets of 8 things, they had a few leftovers. This is one of the leftovers. It's called Obi Otoshi. All right. Find you a partner and play that. Try not to fall on each other. All right. So Jack Sensei yesterday was talking about holding a sword and turning this back foot out 60 some odd degrees. your facing is off over here, but his power was here where his sword was. His center was projecting this way. That's what we're doing here, by the way, because of the weird asymmetric way that we have to hook onto this guy with hips and shoulders. You can't turn facing into him, but you can project this way with your center. All right, so we grab this guy. My facing is here, right? Now I use the side seam of my body to push this way. All right. Also, remember from all of our stuff yesterday, these things are gravity powered. So I'm not just corrupting his posture and pushing him that way. I'm taking a step that direction and then turning it 90 degrees. So there's a step this way and I drop myself at the ground. All right, so play the thing a few more times and see can you get the feel of running power, centered power out of the side seam of your gi or the corner of your belly. That's the direction of the thing. And take a step and just sit down. All right, to power.
Okay.
So we're looking at this as a lot of times, when we do techniques, if I do that,
Right.
I'm doing it from behind, but this one is doing it from...
It's just like gate on. One of the cool things that Sensei Model was talking about this morning was entering into Osotogari, pulling on this line, and then stepping here, right? We've just about always done something similar. In order to pull this foot through on Osotogari, jerk here, right? This jerks him off balance, and it helps me fit, right? So I'm not trying to hold my ground and jerk him and then fit in. I'm pulling myself into a fit while also simultaneously pulling him off balance. Same thing is happening here, okay? I'm pulling myself into this fit where there's no air and no daylight between us. All right? So you see this principle of pull into the fit expressed other places in judo. All right? So ukes are sort of shaped like a cylinder, right? And there's a couple of ways you can do gate anate on this thing. You can slip in, leaving it mostly vertical, and take a step and project him that way, right? We've done that for years and years. That was the way that I was originally taught gate anate, was get in there and blast him that way. And hopefully he falls over. But then after practicing that for some time, your ukes get used to it, and all of a sudden you can't do gate anate anymore. And so for 3 or 4 or 5 years, we cussed about gate anate and how we could never do it. And I got to griping at Nick, and he said, well, watch this. And if you can do something to take this vertical cylinder and turn it horizontal, then you can sit down with it, right? That looks violent, doesn't it?
No cylinder is safe.
Where? Okay.
Okay.
So in this previous one, this is sort of like the first version. Fit in and project him that way. The next one, same thing, grab the tentacles, fit in, turn and face where he's going, and put your other knee down. All right, so this one has a more dramatic downward component. It has a more dramatic feel of tightening the wake, tightening here, like you're grabbing something and holding it under your armpit, like you're taking a vertical cylinder, fitting yourself to it, and then standing yourself back upright so that it lays out flat. All right? All right. There's more turn for me, right? If I'm going to project him, I can't keep turning that way because I'm not good at projecting backwards, right? So I get about this much turn if I'm going to project this way. I could fit him even deeper if I'll turn further. All right? So let's look at one more angle. If I'm going to project him, it's going to be something like this with the side seam of my belly going that way. Or I could pull and turn in deeper and sit down. All right? Obietoshi or Skui Nagi or Gedanate or whatever you're going to call it. The next thing is very similar to some of the stuff that we do in Judo Kata. There's some activities in Judo Kata where he sneaks up and like waves at the heavens and stuff, and then grabs you by the back of the shoulders. Right? So this time the evil alien puts his suckers on you and pushes forward a little bit, right? And I give with that, right? When we played Judo Kata, we talked about yielding and giving. If he pushes against me and I push against him, and I yield like this, that's yielding, but that's like giving the thing up, right? If I yield but give him some feedback, we can do all sorts of crazy things, right? If I give him just a little bit of feedback as I yield, then we can wind up in all sorts of crazy events, right? So when he claps me on the shoulders, I don't want to give like this. I would like to have that connection between his center and mine as I turn. Similar to the thing that we did yesterday where we were hooked together and I turned and it created a distortion in him. He comes up behind me. Now from a little bit of push. There you go. From a self-defense perspective, if you're going to just take a tangent for a second and think about people tapping you or grabbing you on the back of the shoulders, you don't turn around on somebody like this because they're going to hammer you next, right? So he pushes on the back of the shoulders and I put something between me and him as I turn to face him. Get a connection and project. All right. All right. I'm going to take a step beside him. This is a back fall, simple back fall. It's just over there. Since he's pushing me down, I come back under him. All right. So this wedge, you see this in self-defense scenarios all the time. Sometimes it hits there, sometimes it catches here. But either way, you get the posture distortion and then sink on him. All right? Play that. This is a long projection, so watch where you're throwing people. We don't need carnage in the dressing room. Who in here remembers Carl talking about shomenate and why this is actually a gentler, kinder shomenate than this?
If you push him from his hips, he goes back and shoots.
Right. Right. it's easier to demonstrate on a wall, right? If I push his head back and put a little bit of impetus on him, his head springs forward and his shoulders hit. It works the same on the ground. If I push him by his chest, his head springs forward and then he lands on it, right? Yet another little nugget in Koshiki that is severe, right? So he pushes here. This is me holding the off balance and then doing shomanate there with my whole body dropping on him. Okay, so Uke has to be a competent enough faller and know to look out for that to get the head tucked in so that he doesn't whiplash it. Right? Did y'all have questions about that one or any of the previous ones? We've got one more. All right. He does the same thing. Let's come right over here this time. He pushes on the shoulders. Right? This is, it's not a specific place. I'm not grabbing him though. I'm picking his shoulder girdle up, right? And sitting down. Forward roll. All right, so this time I'm turning further. All right. This will probably work best if y'all get over here and throw in lines in the same direction.
That's a good idea.
Support that.